The Dolly Parade, we got to spend some time with Mayor Keith Whaley and also all the commissioners and the city manager and all the government officials for Pigeon Forge.
Represent what we think Pigeon Forge is all about, and that's good, wholesome families, and we're just excited to have them here with us today.
Special.
Thank you so much, Mayor. This really means a lot. And we are really glad to be here. I tell you what, talk about Southern hospitality.
I hope you've experienced it. On behalf of our city, to commemorate this, I want to present you with a key to the city of Pigeon Forge.
Hey everyone, it's Katie from Without a Crystal Ball. Welcome back to my channel. It's Thursday, June 16th, and I hope you're having a wonderful day. This is round 2, still in the voiceover mode, and I'm happy to have you here. Yesterday, I did a video about James and Jason kind of breaking some rules with the Duggars, and I briefly discussed some issues going on with Josh, but I thought, you know what, I have not really talked about the whole situation happening right now with Josh. So I thought, let's just do a update for you so you can understand where everything is at. So he was sentenced on May 25th to 12 and a half years. And the order from the court was that he be committed to the Federal Bureau of Prisons for a total of 151 months. And they, at the time, designated that they were going to recommend that he be designated to a facility in Seagoville or Texarkana to the extent that there is bed space available in his classification level, and that he be allowed to participate in the BOP's SO treatment program. So the recommendation by the judge is only a recommendation. So everything that in the prison system is, the court will make like the defendant will say, I want to go here, and this is where I'd like you to send me. And then the judge will put that into a request and say, this is where we would like you to go. But it's truly not at the discretion of the court. So what will happen is Josh will be, the Bureau of Prisons will have to determine if there is space at the facilities that he can go to. And, you know, he wants to go to the Texarkana, but unfortunately that program, there's not a SO program there. So I don't see him being sent there. I would believe that based on the offense, they would like him to go to one of these other facilities because they can actually like have them all together. So it's creates a safer environment for people like Josh because they are in their own little unit. There's 8 places that he could go. The one in Texas is Seagoville. Then there is a maximum security penitentiary in Tucson, a medium security, which is in Illinois. There is also a medium security, a low security one in Colorado. So he could end up in Seagoville, but Seagoville, according to the population stats, I just checked the records today, and they're at capacity. So I don't know if they have any space for him because they have, it's like a small prison. So you have to think of it this way. In the world of the federal system, their prisons are very small because they just don't have the same volume of cases, and they're spread out all over the country. But with like, if you think of like big county jails that have like thousands, tens of thousands of people, like LA County or Rikers Island for New York, these are small, like 1,700 people maximum. And Seagoville is completely at max right now. So I don't know if he'll be able to go there. But they have unique ways to manage overcrowding. So Josh is going to be stuck there because they have to determine where there's a bed, what kind of program he's going to go to, and then there's going to be a transfer. So Josh will not know ahead of time when he'll be transferred. He'll just literally they'll let him know like when it's happening. and that's done for security purposes. So when Josh is transferred, we won't be notified. Like, they're not going to put out a press release and be like, Josh Duggar is going to be transferred, because they don't want to make any noise about it for his safety, as the transfer happens, for the potential of escapes. There's so many reasons why it's all kept hush hush, and he will, again, not find out until the minute he's going. They are within hours of when he's leaving. So Josh is still there, and it's due to the administration thing. And like I said yesterday, is it takes about 8 weeks sometimes post-sentencing for this to happen. The interesting thing is that when he was sentenced, they didn't give him time served. So I'm not sure if he's going to actually get credit for the time that he's serving right now, because they can give him credit for time served, but there's nothing in his sentencing report that says anything about time served. So I don't know if they'll be giving him credit for the months that he's been in between the time that he's been sentenced and the time of his release. So a couple things that I thought were interesting was that when he is going to be released, his life will definitely not be the same. And I think I told you guys about this, but he will not be able to have any unsupervised contact with his kids. So what this means is that he will not be able to literally live with his kids because he can't be unsupervised. And the supervision has to be done either by his wife, his parents, or someone that the probation officer picks. The judge doesn't get to decide who will supervise. It's literally just that Josh cannot have access to kids unsupervised. So his life will be very different even once he is released. And he won't be able to watch anything online. I think I told you guys about this. And has to do polygraph testing. So when Josh is transferred, again, it will be within weeks, I'm assuming. And again, he's currently in the county facility. Now, the benefit of county right now is that in county, he has more access to communications, because once you go into these facilities, they have very limited access. In fact, people like Josh who have convictions with CSAM, a lot of them won't even get access to email. Right now, he can get a tablet. He can email people if he wants to email them. That's not actually like a right in the federal system. They have to earn almost everything when they get in there. And his communications will be extremely limited. So he only gets to be on the phone for like a total of X amount of minutes. I think it's 300 minutes totally a week. And phone calls can't be longer than 15 minutes in length at a time. And if you go over it, it'll cut you off, and you have to take breaks in between your phone calls. So his hours upon hours upon hours that he has been putting into the system since he's been in county will not be able to stay the same when he's in the federal system. They are required to have jobs. So when he's in there, he has to do something for work. Some of the facilities like Seagoville, they have sewing for uniforms for the military. There's a lot of different options they can have. And then there's leisure activities, again, that they can earn once they've completed all of their work and done everything else for their day. And that, again, is also a privilege, not a right. Or it's a privilege, not a right. So he'll have a very different life. He might be in a dorm, or he might be in a cell. He might be in protective custody. There's a lot of options that can happen here. And each one of these facilities has open dorms, and they also have cells. So it depends on where they rank him in terms of his risk level. And being that he has a little bit of notoriety, I mean, not everyone knows about Josh Duggar, but given his notoriety and the fact that his family has been very controversial in their belief systems, and then it involves very young children, I would say that he's probably not going to be very well liked. So he could potentially be more in a higher security situation where he's like in protective custody. So Josh is not going to have, everyone says like the federal systems are like Club Med, and it's just, whatever. It's not true. He has to work. They do have recreation, but even prison systems have recreation. I mean, all the prison systems in the United States have outside activities for their inmates. They have crafts they can do. They have hobbies they can do. Josh can also go to college if he wants to complete like any college classes. He can enroll in therapy. He can take advantage of the SO offender program. There's a lot that he can do, and then there's a lot that he doesn't have to do. So as long as he meets the minimum requirements for the prison. So there's a lot of things that he'll be doing during the day. So again, he won't have the same amount of time or free time because he'll have a job, and he won't be able to just be like on the phone all day with Anna. And then on top of that, visiting is only a few times a week. So they only offer it like, and it depends on what block you're in, depending on where you are in the prison. And so every unit in each prison has a designated day and then hours in that day where visitors can come. And so they're limited in the number of visitors they can have, the length of time that visitors can be there, and it's only once a week. So they don't get to be there every single day. And a lot of these prisons are very far away from where Anna is. So the idea that she would be going down every single week, say he goes to Seagoville and it's 7 hours away, there's no way she's going to do that weekly. And if she does, that's just ridiculous. Like, I can't even fathom that. What would she move to be closer to him? I can't see that happening because she would be leaving all of her support, but it's Anna, so who knows. But they're probably relishing in the time right now because once he goes to the system, and so like in one of these prisons, he won't have as much time. And so here's another thing is, one of my followers or subscribers reached out to me a couple weeks ago, and her son is in Seagoville under similar charges as Josh, and she said that the treatment program, she didn't find it to be all that great. She called it a joke. She said that the facility is very crowded. They do not have a lot of communication at all. Really, that was the biggest thing. She said flat out, like, he's spoiled right now, and it's going to be a huge wake-up call when he gets to the system because they don't give them the amount of time on the phones. They don't get the same amount of privileges. She was telling me that her son does not get access to email, does not get access to anything electronic because of his crimes similar to Josh. So it's not there. He could have a tablet in his cell. That's literally what the warden told me when I emailed and asked a question. But for him there, that's not a right. So she wasn't thrilled with the system or the treatment program. But and I think that's because she wanted her son to get treatment. It wasn't that she thinks they're a joke. It's more like she wanted her son to be able to get a good therapy. And she said it just wasn't doing much, I guess. So there's lots of offenders grouped at the specific prisons, and it's more than likely he'll end up in one of 8 places, depending on bed space. So Josh's life is going to change very soon. He has filed an appeal. Those briefs are due in August, and you're still going to see a ton of the Duggars being very, very quiet on their social media because they are waiting out and writing out the appeal. Some of the family do believe he's guilty. Even Jim Bob has told people he believes that he's guilty, but publicly they will not say that because they want this public perception to be that Josh is innocent and he was framed, allegedly. So that's what I have for you today. And then coming up next, we're going to talk about some interesting things that happened in the Duggars church. I've had a ton of sources come forward. So, some of you yesterday were like, the video about the bribery with the cookies and stuff. I just want to make one thing clear at the very end. If you're someone that does things for the police officers or your first responders, I just want to say good on you. Like, awesome. Thank you for, appreciating them. That is altruistic for you. But not everyone that does things for the police is being altruistic. They're doing it with an agenda, which is actually why some departments won't even allow you to give them food anymore because it can be designated as a bribe, or it can be seen as, nothing comes without strings attached. So just remember that, I'm not coming at you if you're doing nice things for law enforcement. And of course, we should be respectful for them and be grateful for them. These are the men and women that put their lives on the line for us daily. So, of course, yes, like if your church is raising money or having benefits or whatever, that's awesome. But the IBLP is not doing it because they actually appreciate them. They're doing it as a way to be undercover and like hidden so that they don't get seen by, and they are not, so they look like good people when they're not. It ruins it for the good people, right? That's what they do. That's what cults do. They try to blend in. Oh, and the other thing is I wouldn't have reported it if it literally hadn't come from multiple people in the group. Because when you have multiple people in the group literally saying like, this is what we're instructed to do, this is how we were doing it, like the cookies, baskets, this, that, whatever, like it's a consistent message that's being sent out by the IBLP to their followers and to their like affiliated churches. So it's not like I made this up. It was frankly someone that is friends with the Duggars who told me this, that this is a technique that they use so that they look like they're benevolent people and that they are good Samaritans and that they have good relationships with the police so they can hide in plain sight. If you're, I guess, think I'm reaching, I'm sorry. That's just literally the information that that friend from the Duggars literally gave me. So that's it for now on Josh. Tell me what your thoughts are in the comments below. Bye, guys.